I've got one other thing I wanted to bring up with the panel first. And that's the subject of competition among the readers. Apple obviously got everybody's attention when it effectively shut Adobe Flash programming out, Adobe being crucial to a lot of magazines' publishing process already and something that would have been really convenient to use. But the iPad is not the only thing. You know, we've got the e-readers, and there's color coming there. We've got Skiff coming with one that will be bendy. We've got the Sony Daily Reader, Plastic Logic's Q. HP, Google threatening to get involved. And so I wonder how competitive you guys think it's going to be, and maybe I'll put this to you, Kirk, and then we should get a couple words in about Next Issue Media, because I think it goes to the variety of devices that are going to be out and what Next Issue Media, this coalition among publishers, has been formed to do.
How competitive? I think we're up to 30 different vendors that are threatening, none more threatening maybe than Google, but all threatening to get into the space. From our perspective, I wish, I can't wait for all of them to be better than the next one I see. I want all of the devices to continue improving, and I want everyone to, in the device business, fight to make sure that their functionalities all match the next one and that they keep that business going and more robust. They are making the canvas upon which we paint our content that much better. They will give us better tools to play with, and I think users win, advertisers win, and the publishing or the industry that creates curated content experiences wins. We are experts at creating really great content and building them out under these amazing brands, so that's all great stuff. So,
will there be dozens? Will this look like the cell phone market, where there's or PCs in terms of the competition among hardware makers, or is this going to boil down to a big 2 or 3?
So, it happens the same way every time. So I'm not predicting anything that history hasn't taught us. There'll be 30, which will get to 35, 40, maybe even 50. Then the technology will start commoditizing. Everyone will be able to do the same thing. They'll consolidate, they'll buy each other. HP buying Palm, maybe putting back launch of tablet is early, but exactly what you're going to see more of. And I think in the end you will have, as there are probably 7 PC companies now, you'll get down to a handful. And there are a handful of telephone companies now, and you'll get down to that space. That's great. And when the hardware product refines itself, that's wonderful. That's not, I don't think that's that prophetic. It's happened multiple times.
Hey, Nat, one other thing that I think all of us are doing is that nobody's hanging their hat on the iPad here. I mean, yeah. We're all internally looking at our production teams, our content management systems, how our videos are stored, and to some extent, I suspect that we're all building very agnostic data delivery systems that, to some extent, I don't care, if it's 3 or 30. I'd love 2 of them to scale really big and then deliver those 2 or 1. I don't care. But we will make sure that we're prepared to deliver to whatever device is needed.
And this is part of what Next Issue Media is going to try to do, right? It's going to try to set up standards around certain areas to make it easier to play on different devices, that all exist at the same time.
I think that's one of the goals that we're...
I believe we have a question right here.
All right, what I want to know from the panelists is, does ASME matter with this new channel?
Well, I'll answer that one. I believe that what ASME does is it creates an environment that protects everybody's business by making sure that that we have transparency, that readers know what they're getting, and there's a wonderful environment for marketers to talk to readers. But there's also a trust on the part of readers that there's that they're not reading a house organ of a particular manufacturer or marketer. And I think that the details will change, and there's going to be a lot of cool opportunities for very immersive advertising experiments and stuff. At the same time, but the core principle should be people should know whether someone paid the person to write the content, who paid them. And it just comes down as simple as that. And I think as long as we keep that straight, you know, these issues have gotten more complicated on the web, but the basic line is pretty easy to understand. And I think with good communication, what's changed is that there's a lot more dialogue between editors and publishers than there used to be, and that's necessary. And there's a lot more opportunity sometimes to use independent editorial to create really good environments for advertising that weren't so easy to create before. Everything moves more freely. When digital brings down the walls between things, everything moves more freely. So for example, you know, you can move a bunch of your content around on the web to create an environment around a certain topic that a certain advertiser is interested in. You couldn't do that so easily. You know, you can't move your print pages around like that. So I think we might find ourselves with opportunities here with sort of single topic issues and all kinds of other things that will be extremely attractive. But the ASME guidelines, which they really are is just sort of common sense and transparency, I think will remain important.
Yep.
Brenda, do you disagree? You posed that question for a reason?
Oh, no, I was just curious because there's been a lot of discussion about that. You know, I agree. I'm a big believer in we have to be careful not crossing the line because you know, you look at what has happened on TV in some cases, and we've kind of pulled that back a little bit. And the fact that magazines are trusted content, we do have to be really careful. And the fact that advertising is part of content, that means we haven't crossed the line, and I'm glad to hear you say that because I worry that it's going to be a free-for-all, and then we have not only a, you know, we've got standard issues and, you know, things we've got to figure out with pricing, but now we got a trust problem. So I'm right there with you, but I think there are certain rules that could be bent maybe a little bit.